So first of all, I thank you very much for coming this afternoon for this Sunday feast. So today we are going to discuss the very important topic for which we have come to this institute, hearing and chanting. So the foundation of spiritual life is hearing and chanting, because devotional service begins with hearing and chanting. So especially the ninefold process of devotional service begins with Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. So this is considered to be foundation of our spiritual life. Just like in construction line, it is said 30 to 40% of the time, energy, money goes in building the foundation. Similarly, after coming to spiritual life, after traversing through 84 lakh species of life, Brahmand Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Paye Bhakti Lata Bij. So we have gotten this Bhakti Lata Bij after many lifetimes. So Chaitanya Charitamrita says, after getting this Bhakti Lata Bij, Shraddha Bij, we have to water it. So this watering process is called as Sinchan. And in spiritual life, this Sinchan is compared to hearing and chanting. Then slowly, this Bhakti Lata Bij will sprout and become a small creeper. And the more we attentively water it, the more it goes on growing and ultimately reaches the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. And then we get the ultimate fruit, that is Krishna Prem. Therefore, it is very important to have solid foundation. Because we are not hearing and chanting properly, then we are committing blunder in our spiritual life. Just like 1 plus 1 becomes 3. Instead of 1 plus 1 becomes 2. Instead of that, we make 3 and go on adding, multiplying, dividing, subtracting. Ultimately, the answer will be wrong. Similarly, whatever we are doing depends on these first 2 steps, hearing and chanting. Because we are not hearing, we will not be able to repeat or chant. So the saying goes, the deaf man is always dumb also, because he has not heard. So in order to become a qualified disciple, first class disciple, the first qualification of a disciple is, sadhaka is, one who hears nicely. So the story comes in life of Srila Prabhupada, when he was introduced by temple president of Allahabad during Kumbh Mela. After Srimad Bhagavatam class discourse, the temple president took Abhay Babu, Srila Prabhupada, to his spiritual master, would be spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and said, "This is Abhay Babu, he wants to take initiation from you." Then what Bhakti Siddhanta was saying? He said, "I know him, because he sits in the front and hears nicely." So there Prabhupada mentions the qualification of a qualified disciple is one who hears nicely. Because everything begins in spiritual life with hearing. So this is the foundation of spiritual life. Why? Because the foundation is not proper, then our building of spiritual life will be collapsed. Because being in the spiritual institute, we are going to hear so many things about sadhu, about scandals, about so many things. And by hearing these things, our faith will be get shaken. But our hearing and chanting is proper, then we'll continue our spiritual life. That's why this foundation is very important. So, importance of hearing in our spiritual life. As I said, out of this ninefold process of devotional service, this is the most important activity, hearing and chanting. All other remaining 7 processes depends on these first 2 steps. Because you are not properly hearing, then you are committing blunder in spiritual life. Even though spiritual life is most fortunate, Shubhada, but our misfortune begins by not hearing properly. Because you are not hearing properly about Vaishnavas, you start committing Vaishnava aparad. If you are not hearing properly about spiritual master, you start committing offenses to spiritual master, Guru Avagya. You are not hearing properly about deities, you will start committing aparads towards deities. So all aparadas and arthas begins with inattentive hearing and chanting. So this is the main cause. Even though we have come to spiritual life, but will not be getting the ultimate benefit, which is promised by Sadhu Guru Shastra, Krishna Prem or Kingdom of God. That is only available when you completely focus on this particular activity, hearing and chanting. So without hearing and chanting, remaining 7 processes of devotional service are incomplete. And after some times, all the other activities will become burdensome. गले का बोझ बनना शुरू हो जाएगी हर एक चीज, भक्तों का संग, गुरु महाराज, गीता, भागवत. So all other processes will become burdensome if you are not focusing your mind on this particular activity of hearing and chanting. That's how it's so important to have solid foundation of spiritual life, hearing and chanting. So because of this hearing and chanting, we can progress nicely in spiritual life. So hearing and chanting is made more easier in Kali Yuga, because when you chant these 16 words, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So when you chant, you are doing kirtan, and when you are hearing the same 16 words, you are doing Shravan. So no separate endeavor is required to do it separately, because we don't have time, no inclination. That's why mercifully Krishna has given in Kali Yuga this chanting, which includes hearing and chanting together. That's why it is called as king of all sadhanas. Hearing and chanting is called as king of all sadhanas, because it includes both things together. When we pronounce, you are doing kirtan, chanting, and when you are trying to hear the same 16 words, you are doing Shravan also. Therefore, sadhan and sadh goes together. There is no separate endeavor required to attain self-realization and separately God realization. Self-realization and God realization goes together when you do this activity of hearing and chanting. Just like example is given when mothers, they sit before mirror. When they are decorating themselves, automatically the mirror is also getting decorated. When they apply powder, automatically powder is there on the mirror. When they apply bindi, in the mirror, you can see bindi. In the same fashion or same way, self-realization and God realization goes together. Therefore, sadhan and sadh is possible by doing this activity of hearing and chanting. So this hearing and chanting is not an activity. Vidhi, it is called as vidhi, na vidha bhakti. Ninefold process of devotional service. So what is the difference between process and activity? The activity has got beginning and end, but process is ongoing. It never ends. Therefore, hearing begins after the class. How much we contemplate on what we have heard, how much we meditate on what we have heard, how much we are ready to accept in our life what we have heard. Then the process of hearing is complete. Therefore, mercifully, Prabhupada has given the name of this institute as ISKCON. ISKCON का मतलब क्या है? इस कान से उस कान तो चली जाएगी मुस्कान. इस कान से सुनकर उस कान छोड़ना नहीं. Because Prabhupada has given mission statement, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. We will become only happy when we contemplate, meditate, ponder. That hearing should force us to think about what we have heard. That hearing process should ignite our intelligence, force us to contemplate, meditate what I have heard. How can I imbibe in my life? Then the mercy of sadhu flows. Because Krishna says, by putting complete faith on sadhu, we are trying to hear. And Krishna's mercy flows when we try to imbibe that one instruction in our life. So the greatest service to any sadhu is open your ears and try to hear. Because sadhu and guru means heavy. Even one instruction is more than enough for whole life. Just like yesterday I was mentioning, Prabhupada got this first instruction in 1922. You are a young, educated person. Why can't you preach this Krishna consciousness in foreign language, English language, all over the world? He got this instruction in 1922. And he started to follow this instruction in 1966. So he took 44 years to meditate on one instruction. That's how Guru is heavy. He is called as heavy. Guru means heavy. So that's how 44 years he was meditating how to fulfill the desire of spiritual master sadhu. And that is real hearing. And that gives us the mercy of Krishna. Because Krishna says, by putting complete faith on sadhu, we are trying to imbibe that quality in our life. Syat mahat sevaya vipra. Bhagavatam says, the mercy of sadhu is, we can get his all divine qualities by opening ear to him. So we have to hear it nicely and try to follow the instructions. So this is a process, ongoing process. Even one instruction is enough for lifetime. Just like example of Srila Prabhupada. So hearing in chanting is the personal service. In ISKCON or any spiritual organization, we can employ by paying so many workers or managers and get things done. Just like book distribution, we can pay commission 10%, 20% and do book distribution. For cooking, we can paid cooks. For pujaris, we can paid. So paid cooks are there, paid pujaris are there, paid managers are there. For all other services, we can pay and get things done. But hearing and chanting, we never ever heard in ISKCON that if you chant, you get 100 rupees. Or if you attend Bhagavatam, you get 100 rupees. Or you can't say your friend, today I don't have time, you please attend for me, I will pay you 100 rupees. No. Because this is the only personal service we have to do on our own. Because we know ourselves, our own anarthas. हम कितने पानी में हैं, कितने गंदे नाले के कीड़े हैं, हमें पता है. Therefore, hearing and chanting helps to purify our anarthas. Shunata swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hrudayanto hi abhadrani Surtam Satam. So this particular shloka says that this personal service we have to do. Because we know ourselves, our anarthas. So this hearing and chanting is very, very important. Not activity, process, ongoing process. So by hearing we can welcome a person whom we have not seen in our life. Just like we have not seen Supreme Lord or Krishna or Gopinath in our life. Since we have left his abode, Golok Dham, we have not seen him. But we can welcome him in our life by hearing and chanting. Just like example is given, if father says, my dear son, you go and receive my best friend on the other station who is coming after 30 years. So you get bewildered. Why you get bewildered? Because you start thinking, I was born 20 years back and this friend is coming after 30 years. So how I am going to recognize him? Then father makes you to hear about him. what is his hairstyle, how he walks, how he talks. By hearing about him, the person whom you have not seen throughout your life, you can receive the same person by hearing about him. नहीं तो कलयुग में भगवान सामने आएंगे 4 हाथ लेकर, हम कहेंगे नौटंकी से कौन भाग के आ गया, भगवान को पहचान नहीं पाएंगे. Therefore, it is very important. In order to receive Krishna in our life, we have to be hearing regularly and chanting his glories. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. And then attraction increases. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, if you want to get attracted towards Krishna, Radha and Krishna, first get attracted towards his holy name. Because by hearing about his glories, Rupa, Guna, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila, they will be manifested. So hearing and chanting means sound vibration. Because the whole Lila of living entity and Supreme Lord begins with sound. Anavritti Shabdat, it is called as. Anavritti Shabdat means everything begins with sound vibration. Just like the Leela of Narsingh Dev. Narsingh Dev, when he appeared through pillar, first came sound. Special audio, video, sound effect. No DJ company can make it. And the sound was such a tumultuous sound that Hiranyakashipu started hearing it very, very carefully from where this sound is coming. So from the pillar first came sound, first comes name. And the power of name is, it is going to manifest all other things. Therefore Prabhupada says, everything is there in the holy name. Don't run here and there. I have given everything in holy name. Don't go to Radha Kund and make your life Narakund. I have given everything in one holy name. Because holy name contains everything, just like milk. He gives the example of milk. Prabhupada says, what is not there in the milk? Milk can manifest by the process of boiling. If you go on boiling the milk nicely, slowly, after some times, the milk becomes condensed, rubbery. You can make peda. So many sweet items from that rabdi. If you don't want that rabdi, peda, rasmalai, raskadam, then you can squeeze lemon and make paneer. Paneer ki kitne item bante? Paneer tikha, paneer makhan wala, chili paneer. So many items. There is no count. And even if you don't want paneer, make curd. And so many items can be made from the curd. And even if you don't want curd, make it buttermilk. From buttermilk you get butter. From butter you can get ghee. And how many items you can make from ghee. So Prabhupada says, everything is there in the milk. Similarly, this chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. It contains everything. Just like the process of getting all these things from the milk is boiling. Go on boiling nicely, attentively. In the first place, if you are not attentive, careful, you will not going to get anything from the milk. It will get burned and you have to throw the milk. Similarly, in the beginning, you have to concentrate on this process of hearing and chanting. Because chanting means hearing and chanting. So, here we see that this chanting contains everything. If you go on chanting nicely, then just like milk manifests after some time. What it manifests? Condensed milk. Similarly, the first thing comes out of proper hearing and chanting is, next thing is Rupa. Krishna manifests his beautiful form. So Prabhupada says, don't jump like monkey on pastimes, qualities. It's coming on its own, it's okay. But don't force the mind to meditate on pastimes, qualities. beauty. It's not an artificial imposition on the mind, Prabhupada says. It should be coming on its own. Because if you are hearing and chanting nicely, then next step is Rupa. Just like from the pillar, the sound came. Special audio video sound effect. And by hearing that sound very attentively, even though Hiranyakashipu was a demon, he was able to see next thing. Roop. What was the roop? Half lion, half man. Narasingha. That's how the second stage comes. Rupa. After showing the roop, he started showing his gun and lila. So everything begins with sound vibration. Just like if the altar is closed, even the prime minister comes, president comes, the altar is not going to be opened. But a skinny pujari comes and makes sound through conch shell and bell. Then Krishna is forced to give darshan. So sound is so powerful that the altar is open. Krishna gives his darshan, Rupa. Even Krishna Lila begins with sound. The way Mama Kans was loving his sister, there was no necessity of Krishna appearing. He was so loving his sister Devaki that he dragged down the charioteer who was driving the chariot of Devaki to his Sasural, in-laws house. So he was loving so much Devaki that he said, I am her brother. It's my privilege to do the sarat of the chariot. And he started driving the chariot. But on the way, demigod started thinking, the way Kansa is loving his sister, Krishna will not be forced to appear. So we have to do something. So the celestial sound appeared. And that is the turning point in Krishna Lila. From here, Krishna Lila begins. If there was no sound, then Krishna was not forced to appear. So everything begins with sound. Even our manifestation in the multiple world is because of sound. We are like, our mind is like newly married girl. On the first night, the newly married girl speaks in the ears of the husband. Sound vibration. We have to become separate from father. And whole new creation takes place. New flat, new bungalow, new car. So whole creation begins with sound. That's how here it is said that Prabhupada says, Anavritti Shabdat. Everything begins with sound vibration. Because one material sound has dragged us to this material world. So how much powerful that material sound is. And compared to this material sound, how much powerful the spiritual vibration, sound vibration. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So with that unflinching faith, we have to chant these sound vibrations. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, if you want to get attracted, first get attracted towards His love. Just like example of Rukmini is given. Rukmini never ever saw Krishna before marriage. In Kali Yuga, before marriage, we have to pass on so many photos, so many kundlis, and even 36 qualities doesn't match. But without seeing 64 qualities were matching. Because she was constantly hearing about Krishna. To the milkmaids who used to come to their place and glorify Krishna, what Krishna has done yesterday, last week, always glorifying Krishna's pastimes. By hearing those pastimes, Rukmini, who never had seen Krishna in life, she decided, even if I want to get married, I will get married only Krishna. So Acharyas compare Jivatma is like Rukmini. We have never seen Krishna before, since we have left spiritual world. But we can also decide like Rukmini. I want to get married, I will get married only Krishna. And this is only possible by chanting his his qualities. His name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this word hearing comes from Shravanam. Where it comes from? Shravanam. And the root word from where this Shravan comes is Charvanam. Not Charvan Prash, but Charvan means to chew on. In English it is called as to chew on. In Hindi it is called as Chugali or Jugali. Jugali. Or in Marathi it is called as Ravant. So, the nature of devotee is given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Madchita, Madgata, Pranayanta, Bodhayanta, Paraspara. So, in this particular shloka, devotee is compared to a cow. What is the nature of the cow? Cow takes everything in his stomach through mouth. And after the stomach is full, she goes underneath a tree and starts chewing on. She takes from the stomach again in the mouth and starts chewing it nicely on what is there in the mouth. The more nicely the cow chews, the more nectarian the milk becomes. And this nectarian milk is called in Sanskrit as Amrut. Similarly, Krishna's pastimes are called as Hari Katha Amrut. Krishna's name is called as Hari Nam Amrut. But why we are not experiencing the Amrut? Because we are not chewing on what we have heard. So devotees or sadhakas should be like a cow, always meditating, pondering, deliberating on what we have heard. Madchita, Madgata, Pranayanta, Bodhayanta, Paraspara. So spiritual life means going against the mind. Since lifetimes we are hearing the mind, nasty mind. Now taking to spiritual life means going against the mind. Now we have to make mind hear. Man ka sunna nahi, man ko sunana hai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. If we go on hearing the mind, then we will be called as monkey. Man ki. Jo man ki sune, wo monkey. Jo man ki kahe, wo monkey. Therefore, hearing is very, very important. When you hear nicely, then you can speak nicely. So in order to become Vakta, you have to become first Shrota. And the classical example is Krishna. The whole first chapter, Krishna is hearing. Never ever opened the mouth. All the shlokas are spoken by Arjuna only. So this is a special technique for preachers. Those who want to preach Krishna consciousness, first we have to hear the person who is speaking, who is coming for the first. But what is our tendency? As soon as the new person comes, we want to download everything, what we have heard for last 20 years. And he runs away. Without knowing his disease, we are giving big injection. So never ever he will turn back. So first here, Krishna is giving technique, how to preach. When you hear, you will understand his problem. And then you can start medication. And when he accepted, Shishyastham mam shadimam prapannam. Then Krishna starts speaking. Asochana sochastvam pradnyavasham se bhasase gata suja nanu sochanti pandita. Similarly, we have to hear first. By hearing, we can understand the problem. So, by Krishna's mercy, the first organ we get in the womb of mother is sense of hearing. Therefore, Bhagavatam is nothing but the whole category from womb to tomb. माँ के गर्भ से लेकर कब्र तक कैसे भक्ति कर सकते हैं. Bhakti is so simple. The only thing to do for bhakti or perfect bhakti is we required one tongue, 2 ears. That's all. Therefore, Krishna is so merciful. The first thing he gives in the womb of mother as a matchless gift to any jiva is sense of hearing. Because Krishna wants us to hear right from the womb of the mother. So 3 examples are given in Bhagavatam of great souls who became Mahajans, Bhagavatas in whom itself. Prahlad Maharaj, Sukhdev Maharaj and Parikshit Maharaj. Just by hearing. The next example comes after coming out of the womb. At the age of 5 itself, a small boy perfected his life just by hearing mantra given by Narad Muni. Who was he? Dhruva Maharaj. Within 6 months, you can just imagine. We are doing bhakti for last 20 years. But this small boy perfected within 6 months. Crash course. अभी हम भक्ति कर रहे 20 साल से, हम क्रैश हो रहे अभी, भक्ति नहीं हो रही. So it is very important. Intensity. Laulyam ekalam matram janma koti sukruti nable. Because hearing means transformation. Just like the prostitute heard for 3 days only from the mouth of Haridas Thakur. And within 3 days, she got transformed. So proper hearing means transformation. Badlav zarur aayega. So within 3 days, she becomes so transformed, she took shelter of Haridas Thakur and became disciple. Even Maya Devi, she came to allure Haridas Thakur and she took initiation from Haridas Thakur. So the prostitute was given instruction by Haridas Thakur. You go back and give everything what you earn through this nonsensical business of prostitution. So she never ever sold. She gave in charity. That was a transformation in prostitute. And within 3 days, she becomes sadhvi. So you can imagine, our mind is like that prostitute. We are hearing and chanting for last 20 years and no transformation is there. So how much we are contaminated? Because our mind is compared to that prostitute. Even Brahma started hearing and then he got to know what Krishna wants. Because when Brahma was born on the lotus, he was traversing through the time of the lotus, up and down. He was not able to understand what was my purpose, for what I was being created. So ultimately, the drops were falling from the lotus on the water. Tap, tap, tap. And he understood, Krishna wants me to do tap. So he sat on the he sat on the lotus and started doing Asradi. Then everything was revealed. Then again Arjuna. What is the difference between Arjuna before Battle of Kurukshetra, before hearing Gita and after hearing Gita? The only difference is he heard nicely. After hearing all the 18 chapters, what was the conclusion of Arjuna? Nashta moho smriti labdhva. Now my illusion has gone. I am ready to fight. And ultimately said, whatever you say, I am ready to do it. Karishye vachanam. So that should be our conclusion after chanting 16 rounds. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Whoever may be our authority, counselor, mentor, we should go and say, now I am out of illusion, I am ready to fight, ready to do any service. So that's how this hearing process works. That transformation is sure. Even Bilva Mangal Thakur, when he heard from the mouth of prostitute Chintamani, those words were like sharp arrows, piercing his heart. And he started thinking, this is not Chintamani speaking. This is my spiritual master from last life, Somagiri speaking. So he took it very seriously and left everything and went to Vrindavan and perfected his life. So transformation is sure when you hear nicely. That's how this hearing process works. Unless and until the medicine enters through ears, pravishta karna randhrena, the medicine is not going to work. So we have to hear it nicely. Then Krishna will take care of this mind. So Prabhupada says, where is the question of mind? When you pronounce and try to hear, where is the question of mind? There will be no question of mind and there will be no fear, no anxiety, no tension. And that is the meaning what Govind Raj wants to say in this beautiful bhajan. Bhaja hure mana Sri Nanda Nandana Abhay Charna Arvindre. And in one place Prabhupada gives comment on this. What is the meaning of this beautiful bhajan? Prabhupada says, just hear. And what benefit you get by hearing? When you hear, you are near to your most dear and there is no fear. Because by hearing, you are fine-tuning with your Paramatma, who is most dear. When you hear it nicely, you are fine-tuning. Just like radio waves are there, TV waves are there everywhere. Even the TV set is there, radio set is there. All of a sudden, if you go on to put on the TV or want to see GTV or hear Radio Mirchi, it will not come in first instance. You have to fine-tune the station. Similarly, Paramatma station is there inside. The more you nicely hear Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, then Krishna will reveal. And then he will start helping you. So, even Ajamila got transformed because he heard for the first time Holy Name Seminar. What is the short form for Holy Name Seminar? HNS. Because he heard properly HNS, so he got transformed. He was not qualified to attend that Holy Name Seminar. He was not chanting even 4 rounds. But the seminar which was given by Vishnu Dutas to Yamadutas was heard very, very carefully. And Ajamila got maximum advantage of that seminar. We are also hearing seminars, Holy Name seminars, but no transformation. Therefore, this Holy Name seminar becomes, HNS becomes, for us, hum nahi sudharenge. So, we have to change ourselves by hearing it nicely. So, there are so many examples where we can see transformation is sure. Hearing and chanting means transformation. Why there is no so much preaching? Because we are not getting transformed ourselves. Because relatives, family members, they see he is chanting for 20 years and there is no transformation. So what change is going to be there in our own life? If this person is chanting for 20 years, he is not getting transformed, हमें क्या बदलाव होने रहे? इसलिए they will not take seriously. But when they see transformation, this person was drunkard, woman hunter, everything, nasty things he was doing. Now after chanting this Hare Krishna, he has got transformed. They will get faith that this process works. So preaching means personal preaching purposes. Personal preaching is best preaching. When you hear and chant nicely, you are preaching by your own example. And that will transform the whole world. Therefore, here we have to first imbibe those qualities in our life. So therefore, this word Shravan comes from Charvanam. To chew on, to meditate, to ponder, and try to imbibe those qualities. So from whom to whom Krishna has made arrangement. So sometimes the initiated disciples, aspiring disciples, they are morose. They get discouraged. Why? Because I am not able to do personal service to spiritual master. Only chosen persons are given personal service. So usually we get discouraged in spiritual life. And we take back our seat. And do minimum services. Because we are not getting personal service. But Shastra says, there is no worry of getting anxiety or getting discouraged. Because Krishna has given this one sense, one organ by which we can do personal service to spiritual master. By no other limb or of the body or any organ of the body, we can do personal service to the spiritual master. Because spiritual master is in US, we are in Mumbai. How we can do personal service? Even if you are best cook, you can't send every day the preparation by air. Or even if you want to massage his body, you can't do by sitting in Mumbai. So always there is a feeling that I am not able to do personal service. But Shastra says, Gita Bhagavad, there is one organ by which you can do personal service every moment, and that is sense of hearing. Because spiritual master is, by putting his sweat and blood, he is preparing the classes, and he wants to give instruction through his lectures. And if you hear those lectures nicely and try to follow, you are doing the best service, best personal service to spiritual master. So that's why it is called as more than Vapu, Vani is important. And the classical example is Mrugari. When Narad and Parvat Muni came next time in the same area where Mrugari used to say, because now Mrugari has got transformed. Before he was worried about his livelihood. How I am going to sustain myself, my family. Because when Narad Muni said, you give up this business of hunter and become Hare Krishna chanter. So Mrugari started asking, how I am going to fulfill myself, my family? How this hearing and chanting is going to help me? So Narad gave assurance that Krishna is maintaining, sustaining those who are blaspheming him, those who are not ready to accept him, those who are atheistic. He is supplying to them. Why he can't supply to those who are chanting and hearing about his glories? So ultimately, by putting unflinching faith, he started chanting. And when he started chanting, he also got transformed. And he became sadhu now. So when Mrugari became sadhu, the around village people used to come to take darshan of the sadhu. And when you come to sadhu or temple, you don't come empty-handed. You come with bhogas, fruits, flowers. Now Mrugari was being visited by so many people around the villages. Now his anxiety became double. First his anxiety was, how I am going to get my livelihood or food grains. Now people were coming in for large number and with food grains or fruits. Now his anxiety became different. Now his anxiety was, I am eating, the whole family is eating, and so much surplus is there. So he started distributing. So Mrugari became first Food for Life director. And when the Narad Muni and Parvat Muni came next time, Mrugari started running toward his spiritual master. But on the way, he stopped all of a sudden. And with his uttari, upper cloth, he started wiping the ground. By seeing this, Parvat Muni said, what is your disciple doing? When you are before him, in front of him, instead of doing your service, he is doing service on the floor. Why is he doing that? So Narad Muni said, this is the quality of a first class disciple. He never ever goes for personal service. He does the Vani Seva. That is more important. Because last time I gave instruction. Now don't hurt even ant. So he is trying to follow the instruction. When he was running towards me on the way, the line of ants was going. So he removing that ant side and trying to cross over. So this is the example where it is said that more than Vapu, Vani is important. And by the sense of hearing, we can do the ultimate service to spiritual master by following his instruction. So, Krishna also says the importance of hearing in Bhagavad Gita. 7.1. At the end of this shloka, Krishna says, Tat Shrunu, means Arjuna, suno me. Suno me nahi to tsunami aayega fir. Because the problems will start coming like tsunami when you don't hear properly. So, in spiritual life, we should have more faith on ears than eyes. But unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, our eyes are becoming like Jagannath and ears are becoming smaller and smaller. The hearing capacity has decreased to 20 minutes only. So very difficult to meditate on what we are hearing. Very difficult to contemplate on what we are hearing. So we are so proud of seeing. Seeing is believing. But in spiritual life, hearing is Most important. Because what we can see with our fleshy eyes, charma chakshu. So Krishna has made a big joke with us. What is that joke? He says, if you want to see, how much you can see? Because Krishna has made these eyelets right on our eyes. So we are so proud of seeing, but Krishna says, if you want to see your eyebrows. Can you see those eyebrows? They are sitting just on your eyes, but you are not able to see these eyebrows. So in spiritual life, more than seeing, we have to have complete faith in hearing. Because the process is hearing and chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. So the Arabic saying goes, mind is for seeing and the heart is for listening. Very important saying in Arabic. Mind is for seeing and heart is for hearing. So blind man sees through sense of touch, skin. And a small infant child sees everything by putting in his mouth. Dog sees through his nose by smearing everything. But an intelligent person, Rupa Goswami says, sees through ears. And one who sees through ears is sincere. Sincere means he has seen through ears, sincere. That is the meaning of sincere. So that eagerness is required, Rupa Goswami says. Because the only thing which can purchase Krishna, devotional service, is laulyam, eagerness, utkantata. Laulyam ekalam matram, janma koti sukrutin labide. So according to science, 5 types of listenings are given. First is ignoring, never ever giving attention. Second is pretending, trying to pretend that I am hearing. Third is neglecting, selective. Ardha Kukutna it is called as. Whatever we like, we hear that and take it. That is selective. And fourth is attentive hearing. So attentive hearing is required in the beginning stage. Because attention to small details is a sign of love. His Holiness Radha Maharaj says, what is the sign of love? Attention to small details. Attention is the heart of devotional service. Because if you are not attentive, then you will be missing the train. Just like an exam, if you are not attentive, you are going to get big 0. If you are not attentive while crossing the rail track, you will be losing your life. If you are not attentive on lathe machine, you will be losing your hands and legs. So it is so important to perform material activity and get ultimate benefit from that activity. We have to be attentive. So how much we should be attentive in the process which can take us back home, back to Godhead, hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. So first is ignoring, second is pretending, third is selective, fourth is attentive, and fifth is most important, empathetic listening. Means try to understand what is there in the mind of person who is speaking. Very difficult to get that. Therefore about Rupa Goswami it is said, Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale. Means who can understand the mind of Lord Chaitanya, who is none other than Krishna himself. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna. But one disciple was there, Rupa Goswami, about whom it is said that Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam, one who was able to understand what is there in the mind of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And according to his desire, he started writing Vaishnava literatures, reviving all the stalis of Lord Krishna's pastimes. So without telling, he started doing this by understanding the Manobhishtam, Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam. And that is first class disciple. Similarly, in the case of Prabhupada, he was able to understand the mind of his spiritual master. Because on one of the Vyas Puja offerings, he wrote a very beautiful poem glorifying Bhakti Siddhant. How he has descended to defeat Mayavad. And by reading this poem, Bhakti Siddhant, his spiritual master, was so happy, he started showing all his God brothers that Abhay is able to understand my mind. And he gave the instruction, whatever Abhay writes, you print it, you publish it. Because Prabhupada was such a person like Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam. Because he was given instruction to preach in English language. But after preaching for 10, 11 years in Western world, he came to India and started preaching in Hindi. There is never ever instruction to preach in Hindi. But he understood the mind of the spiritual master and did some extra service. Just like Hanumanji. He was given instruction to find out Sita. But after finding out Sita, he did some extra service of burning Lanka. Similarly, Prabhupada started through his Krishna consciousness preaching in Hindi. So, this opulence is available to a disciple when you hears it nicely, meditate, contemplate, and understand the mood of spiritual master. Then we can please Krishna. Yasya prasadad bhagavad prasado, yasya prasadad na gati kutopi. That is the secret of spiritual life. To understand the mood of spiritual master and do that activity. Just like Prabhupada says, it was my life mission. I put everything. The secret of spiritual life is put your heart and soul. Manas deha jo kuch more. Arpilu tua pade Nanda Kishore. So again, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was saying 3, 4, 5 years back in his Vyas Puja, he was repeating one sentence again and again. The secret of spiritual life is be sincere, serious, and without ulterior motives. And these things are available when you hear nicely and chant nicely. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So, that's why Prabhupada has given this institute name as ISKCON. ISKCON means always meditating, whether I am hearing properly or not. ISKCON का spelling क्या है? ISKCON. Means is Krishna consciousness on. ISKCON का मतलब क्या है? Is Krishna consciousness on. Mobile on है कि नहीं? Is Krishna consciousness on? I am hearing it properly or not, meditating for. Then we will get benefit of this institute. So, in Bhagavatam it is said, in material world there are thousands and thousands of subject matters to hear and chant. Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nunanam Shashram. So, solution on this problem is given in Bhagavatam again, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, 14 shloka. तस्माद एकेन मनसा भगवान सात्वतां पति श्रोतव्य कीर्तितव्यश्च ध्येयश्च पूज्यश्च नित्यदा. So in this rare human form life, we have to do only one thing. As a spirit soul, we don't have any other activity. These 4 activities. Tasmad means therefore, after getting this rare human form of life, what you have to do? With one pointed attention. Tasmad ekena manasa. We have to serve whom? Bhagavan Satvatam Pati. Who is Bhagavan? Who is the real well-wisher? Surudam. Who is our real Pati? Pati means who is always there to take care. In all calamities, problems, and disease, he is there next to us. So we are, conditioned souls are compared to wife and Krishna is compared to Pati. Because other than Krishna, there is no other Pati. As yesterday I was mentioning, no other Pati is going to protect us at the time of death. Not allopathy, homeopathy, naturopathy. Only Satvatam Pati, Rukmini Pati, Lakshmi Pati, Tirupati. That's why Krishna is available to us. When you hear more and more and chant His glories, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. So tasmadekena manasa Bhagavan Satadpati Shtotavya Kirtitavyascha Dheyascha Pujach Nityada. It's not one day program, one weekly program, monthly program, yearly program. Nityada. Just like we are breathing. Without notice, we are breathing. Similarly, these 4 activities on the level of spirit soul should be going. Shrotavya, always hearing. Kirtitavyascha, always chanting. Pujascha, always doing worship and meditating. Dheyascha. If you are not doing these activities in relation to Krishna, then you have to do in relation to the film star, 4-star and politicians. There is no other choice. Either you have to serve Maya or Krishna. There is no other in between. Therefore, here we see that Shrotavya Kirtitavyasya Dheyasya Pujasya Nityada. So why we are not taking it seriously? Because we are not considering ourselves spirit soul. We are considering ourselves as body, mind, intelligence and ego. And that's why we are taking the activities in relation to body, mind, senses very seriously. Therefore, Prabhupada gives example. Why the dog is barking on the road? Nobody goes and whispers in the ears of the dog कि कुत्ते साहब अभी भूको. बिना बोले कुत्ता भौंकता है. क्यों? प्रभुपाद कहते हैं क्योंकि कुत्ते को लगता है अगर भौंकूंगा नहीं तो मुझे कोई कुत्ता नहीं कहेगा. Similarly, our precarious condition is we think we are this body, mind, and we take it seriously. Just like dog, it takes it seriously. Barking business. So we are also barking. But we have to bark Krishna's name. We are also dogs of Krishna. And that's why this belt is there. If belt is not there, then municipality will take away. Just like those who are not having master, lawaris kutte, हमेशा municipality घूमती होती है. So similarly we should be barking, always chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Because all the problems, all the diseases, all the calamities, तन की, मन की, धन की, जितनी भी तकलीफ है, प्रॉब्लम है, संकट है, विपदा है, बीमारी है, शुरू होती है भगवान को भूलने से. Forgetfulness is a greatest curse to any human being. Because of forgetfulness, we are traversing through 84 lakh species. So if you want to stop this business of traversing through 84 lakh species, we have to take to this process of hearing and chanting. Because forgetfulness gives 3 things in free. Bhaya, Moha and Shok. What we get? Because of forgetfulness, Bhaya relates to future. What will happen to me, to my society, to my nation, always fearing about future. Shok means always lamenting for the past. Kaise hua, kab hua, mat pucho. And Moha means always thinking I am this body and everything in relation to body is mine. So we are always engrossed in these 3 things, Bhaya, Moha, Shok. So never ever in present. But Bhakti means always in present, be present. Because as a soul we have only 2 things which we can offer to Krishna. This present moment and our consciousness. No other thing belongs to us. These are only 2 things which we can say ours. Present moment and our consciousness. That's why this moment is called as Krishna consciousness. Because living entity has no other consciousness than Krishna consciousness. Because we are part and parcel of Krishna. जो पिता की भावना है वो पुत्र में होती है. इसलिए कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस, महादेव कॉन्शियसनेस, गणेश कॉन्शियसनेस नहीं. कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस वी आर इटर्नल पार्ट्स ऑफ कृष्णा. Therefore Krishna consciousness. So this consciousness we have to offer. And consciousness means at present moment we have to offer it. Because past is history, future is mystery. So be present. And chant and hear Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So this is a short introduction to this seminar which I usually do. As an introduction we have discussed today what is the importance of hearing and chanting, how it is a like foundation of spiritual life, What benefits we get? The most benefit we get by hearing and chanting is transformation. An attraction towards Krishna. Service attitude increases. We can reinstate ourselves in our original consciousness. Jivera Swarupa Krishna. Therefore, you don't have to impose from outside. This Shraddha Bhakti is there. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabunai. Chaitanya Charitamrut Madhya Lila Shlok number 107 says Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabunai Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karya Ude. Just like we are that deer which is searching outside the fragrance of Kasturi. But Kasturi is not outside. It's in her own Nabhi. What do you call Nabhi? Navel. But because of ignorance, she is running after that fragrance and ultimately lands in desert, and without water, she dies by living the green jungle. Similarly, we conditioned souls are compared to that deer. We are looking for happiness outside. But that happiness is available when you hear and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Another example is given in this connection to Shloka, that we are part and parcel. As a part and parcel, we are like the small particles of iron. So iron particles are naturally attracted towards magnet. So Krishna is most powerful magnet. Krishna means all attractive, powerful magnet. Then why we are not getting attracted as part and parcel? Because when the iron particles, they are rusted, there is junk, there is rust, dust, lust on iron particles, then that attraction is not there. To remove that lust, rust, dust, we have to use foil or polish paper or sandpaper. So Bhagavatam compares this hearing and chanting as polish paper, sandpaper, foil. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. And last example is given in this connection to this sloka. This bhakti is compared to fire of devotional service. Bhakti is like fire. Right now this fire is covered with ash of anarthas. Lust, greed, anger, envy, hatred. All these anarthas are compared to ash, which covers the fire of devotional service. So, hearing and chanting revives that fire again. Just like in olden days, the mothers used to cook in the chulas. And when the fire gets covered with ash, they use what you called funkni, the instrument which blows the ash. Similarly, hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And this hearing and chanting revives our real knowledge. Knowledge means education. Vidya Vadu Jivanam. Education word comes from edukari. Edukari means to revive what is inside, not downloading files. That is not real knowledge. And this revival is possible by hearing and chanting these 16 words.